Happy Homebrew Wednesday, everybody. Barrage Brew here, coming back at you, 2017. Let's get a beer. So here is my Irish Ale that I brewed earlier on in 2016. It's almost kicked. So 2016 was a down year for me brewing beer. A lot of life changes, getting a kid and, work, things that get in the way of hobbies. So that being said, I still did brew, 10 beers over the years. So, I mean, that's down from like the 18, 20 I did the year before. But I will say that I think the quality of my beers last year went up as opposed to the year before. Some of the highlights, like I did a red ale early on in the year that was really good, had some good flavor to it. And then I did an Azaka IPA with Azaka, hops, and that turned out really well. And that beer actually kicked very, very quickly. And then, the SJ4 Challenge, I tried two different beers to see which one would be the ones that I would have in the competition. So I did like a pale ale, which was like a take on my Stones, which is like a stone kind of grain recipe using New Zealand hops. And I also tried doing an India pale lager, and the lager just, it's good, but I think I over hopped it, and it's still really bitter. So I didn't end up using that beer in the competition. Just drinking it here locally. It's pretty good. It's just a little too bitter, I think, and it would not have fared even as well as my New Zealand pale ale did. I think I finished like fourth in the hub here. So the big takeaway from that is got to work on getting my clarity up on my beers. I think that was the biggest thing. Is people love the color, love the aroma, love the flavor, but it was a little hazy. I think it's because I dry hopped it. And then right towards the end of the year, Larry and I did a double batch Oktoberfest, and that beer has turned out to be like really, really good. I entered it into a local homebrew competition here that should be kicking off here in the next couple weeks. Larry and I did something interesting with that beer. So we did a double batch, and then, it was my recipe from the recipe I made 2 years ago that everyone really liked, but it was like super big beers, like 9.3% ABV. And so we cut it down a little bit, doubled the batch, and then we split it 5 gallons each. And then I used the Cry Havoc yeast, and he used the Mangrove Jack California Ale. So it's amazing is like the beers have like the same profile, but mine's much more maltier, which you'd expect because it's got that lager yeast in it as opposed to his. But they're both really, really good beers. You can tell they like had like the same grain bill, and you just get the little different. You can taste the difference based on what the yeast does, which is pretty cool. And then this Irish ale that I made, slightly undercarb right now. I don't know if it's just getting old or what, but it's pretty good. Maybe I need to up the CO2 in the kegerator. But yeah, so down year, but new year coming up. I've already brewed. Once with Larry, got planned. We were gonna brew today, but the weather was just crappy, and we just didn't feel like it. But so that beer we did is I bought a barrel late last year from a bourbon distillery, and so I've been keeping it in the basement. It's filled halfway up with bourbon. I keep rolling it around to keep it seasoned, but we're gonna make a super really good like porter, bourbon barrel aged porter. And so that I think will be a really, really good beer. Right now, just transferred that to secondary, and it's kicking. So that's what's going on with those things. If you look over here, like we're getting all stocked up for the year. Lots of two-row to do a lot of beers this year, and then I stocked up on hops over the holidays because I want to correct the deficiency I had last year about the number of beers I brewed. So still a lot of stuff in the hopper for beers. Want to do a couple big IPAs, a couple DIPAs. I'm probably gonna do another like black IPA, do like a Schwartz beer this year, and then when it gets closer to the summer, crank up like a lawnmower beer and an ESB. Get those kind of in my wheelhouse, and then I want to do a Kolsch. I've never done a Kolsch, and SJ did a really, really good Kolsch, I thought, for the SJ Pour Challenge. And man, that was like one of the most pretty beers I've ever seen. It's crystal clear. It was delicious. SJ, that was a great beer. I really like that one. So that I'm gonna try and imitate you. You know, imitation the greatest, greatest thing ever. So I'm gonna see if I can knock that out. Right before Christmas, I was on a work trip to Richmond for a course, and that place is just booming with like good breweries. I had the good fortune to go to the Answer Brewing Company, and that place, man, they have ridiculous amounts of beers, 50 plus beers available there, and then they have their collaboration beers, and they have the beers they have like piped through the Randalls and stuff. Man, it was over. I mean, I didn't know what to do. There were so many beers there that like were just primo beers. I kind of stuck to like they had some fresh IPA and DIPA and stuff like that. So I had those, and then brought back some crowlers for old Lermo and myself. And the food there, it's tied in with like the Mekong Vietnamese restaurant and the best banh mi sandwich I've had in a long time, to go along with some of the best beers I've had in a long time. So if you're ever in Richmond, you got to hit up the Answer Brew Pub. I think it was voted like the best brew pub in America, and going there and the experience and the quality of everything from the food to the beverage to the service staff, that place was spot on. I'm not getting any kickback, so that's just my personal opinion. Also went to Hardywood. That was right around the time that they had just done the release party for their Christmas morning, which is like their gingerbread stout that's got coffee beans. I got to do a side-by-side comparison between the Christmas morning, which was the regular gingerbread stout, and then the Kentucky Christmas morning, which was aged in Kentucky bourbon barrels. Like phenomenal beers, both of them. The Kentucky Christmas morning just knock your socks off. Luckily, when I got back home, I was able to pick up a case of the Christmas morning from Total Wine, and then I was able to locate one Kentucky Christmas morning from Total Wine. They only let you buy one because they only had like 10. And then a buddy of mine was able to score another one, so we had 2 in the hood. We did a taster a couple weeks ago with all the brewers in the hood on that Kentucky Christmas morning. It was really good. And then I hit up the Veil, and a lot of people haven't heard about them, but man, they do their beer releases on Tuesday, and the line was literally like out the building, around the parking lot, and around the corner. That's why I went to Hardywood first. I went there, had some beers, let the line dissipate down, and then came back and picked up some flats of their releases for that day, which was like a White Ferrari IPA, and then their Old Lions IPA, and then they had a grapefruit beer I picked up. That was really good too. So that's their thing. They can, the tall boy, cans, and you pick up, typically like one flat each, which is, like was that six 4-packs or whatever. So that's their mojo, and it's pretty good. Their beers are really, really good. There was not a single beer that I had when I was there that was not good. And I would go back. I think we're setting up to hit them up on some of their Tuesday releases here when we can. And then the last place I went, I met some friends out for dinner. Went to Legend Brewing Company, and they're not cream of the crop, but their ambiance was, maybe it's Christmas time, I don't know, but the ambiance was great. The live music going on, the beers, Legend Brown is great, but they have a bunch of other beers on tap that you just don't really get. That their beers were good. They were really good. I was pleasantly surprised, and I had like these smoked buffalo chicken wings with like a spicy sweet sauce. I mean, they're really good. So the food was good, and the ambiance was good. So like, when you're in Richmond, there's plenty of places to go. There's places I didn't have a chance to go, but I look forward to going back and hitting up some spots. And then Larry and I went to Richmond to pick up some other stuff on the way back. We went to Ale Works over in playing Williamsburg. So on the way back to Norfolk, we stopped in Williamsburg, had some beers at Ale Works, and that was good as well. So that being said, I look forward to a good brew year, and getting more active than I was last year, participating more in the local brew club here, doing some beer challenges, and looking forward to SJ Pour Challenge again this year, and anything else that might be coming up. So that, from me to you, Happy New Year. Glad to be back. Look forward to doing some beer mail, getting some beer mail, doing some reviews. So cheers.